am a big fan. I'm a fan of many of your books, but you also wrote a book, two writers.
Yeah.
And in that book, you ask writers to not write what they know, write towards what they want to know.
Right.
And this book, Twist, is about underwater sea cables.
Yes.
What the hell did you want to know about underwater sea cables?
You mean you haven't been swimming down underneath the cables, figuring out how to chop them or anything
I'm
like
staying
that?
up top most of the time. I'm mostly worried about UV rays coming from the sun.
Well, you know, it's really amazing. I mean, 95% of the world's intercontinental information travels underwater. And it's going in places that we have never visited. I was fascinated by this because, you know, the underwater have all those, you know, dips and crags and underwater canyons and all sorts of things. And the fact that our voices and our emojis and all the silly things that we do...
Are porn.
And all the porn traveling at the bottom of the sea.
Yes.
There it is.
The tits that are at the bottom of the sea doesn't get talked about enough.
They are slinking along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what... So this book looks at... I mean, it really looks about... There's so many big themes that deal with what's happening today, but sort of looks at the information and the connectedness that we have that is so fragile, is hidden at the bottom of the sea. Like, what did you notice in doing research for this? Like, where were the weaknesses?
Well, the weaknesses are startling. First of all, you know, we're connected. We're all connected, but we're also disconnected in the most extraordinary way. So I was interested in that. But where then are the weak points in the cables? Well, you have landing stations all over the world where the cables come in from the sea into a little bungalow-like structure. And you recognize it because it has a chain link fence around it and a generator at the side because they need electricity. And you can actually walk up to a lot of these landing stations, even in New Jersey and Long Island, and you can see the manhole covers in the ground. And you can lift up. If you do you carry a
what?
One of those things to lift
a wallet,
up
a pen
covers?
every now and then?
No, those things.
Oh, just like a steel lever to open manhole covers?
Right,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I carry those all the time.
Okay.
Yes. I'm constantly. If you see me on the street around New York,
you have those.
I'm like a Ninja Turtle just getting in there, you know?
You take it out like this, and then you lift out the manhole cover, and you can actually see the cables coming in to carrying all that porn.
I like this. Wait a minute, there's free porn under the streets?
Yeah, you just reach down and scoop it up.
I like to imagine you as a writer just climbing over these fences with these giant steel rods trying to get this information and people catching you and being like, oh, no, I'm writing a novel, don't worry about it.
Yeah. But you can also go out and you can dive underwater and you can see some of these cables. You know, we are actually, you know, we're quite vulnerable, even at deep sea. Because if you take out a cable at deep sea, I'm talking like 4, 5, 6 kilometers down. If that goes out through, say, an underwater landslide or an earthquake or sabotage with a grappling hook, it will take up to 6 weeks to get it fixed.
Is that right?
Yeah, because a boat has to go out, they have to find it. It's an extraordinary job. So if we had somebody trying to take out the world's internet for 6 weeks, what would that be like, by the way?
Oh, my God, the shit we would get done?
Yes, exactly.
Can you imagine the connections we would have, the ability to talk to one another?
We would talk to one another.
Oh, my God, I would build a relationship with my son in a way that I never did before. We would actually work together to try to pass, like, a reliable bill that could keep Medicaid a part of it as well. We would have friends again.
Well, maybe we should organize some sort of sabotage, some sort of national sabotage.
I love, because you have such, whoa. Just to be clear, you might be talking about terrorism, but but you say it with in such a jaunty manner. I think you could really sell some people on it. This book also takes place at sea. I love a good. What is it about the sea that writers are drawn to? I feel like this has allusions to Conrad and Melville in it. What is it?
Well, the sea novels are always wonderful novels because you know, when you go out to sea, you sort of lose everything, but you always want to go back home. So you meet these people who do go out to sea, and they you know, investigate these cables and repair them. They're on land. They really want a break to happen. But the minute they get out to sea, all they want to do is fix the brakes so they can go home again. And so this whole notion of home, belonging, not belonging, repair, I think repair is one of the great themes of our times.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I think that comes through here. And if we zoom out, a lot of the stuff we talk about, I think America is a pretty pessimistic place right now. The idea of repair. Embedded in that is a sense of hope.
Yes.
You talk to people nowadays, it feels like they're not interested in repairing. They're more
Right.
interested in burning things down, or
Right.
at least they've lost the hope that repair can happen. Why is that such a potent theme now?
Well, I mean, you talk a lot about certainty, and I agree with you entirely. We're sort of diseased with certainty. Everybody has to be so certain they can only go in one direction, and the others can only go in another direction. What I am interested in is the floodplains between those canals of certainty, because that's where all the interesting stuff happens. That's where actually all the interesting people meet, because we're so much more interesting than we allow for others to think about ourselves.
Mm-hmm. You have an amazing organization.
Yes.
Narrative 4.
Yes.
What is Narrative 4?
Narrative 4 is a global nonprofit that brings young people together to exchange stories with one another. And one of the things we would do, for instance, believe this or not, we could bring kids from the South Bronx together with kids from Eastern Kentucky. And one might think in today's America, right, exactly, that they might not be able to get on. But through the exchange of personal stories, they create this world where they realize they're not so different to one another. So what would happen is we would get together, I'd tell you a story, you tell me a story, I'd go back in and I'd say, hi. My name is Jordan, and I have a lovely head of hair.
And I say Colum, and I wish I had Jordan's hair.
Exactly. Yeah. But you know, they tell really powerful stories that sort of negotiate the distance that we supposedly have between us. Say, for example, there's a young girl in the Bronx who wears a hijab. She's talking with a boy from Kentucky. Well, underneath her hijab, she might have AirPods, and in those AirPods, she's listened to Beyonce. And the boy down in Kentucky has been listening to Beyonce's most recent album. And
Cowboy Carter. I mean, how do you not listen?
Exactly.
To it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And people come together. People come together in music. People come together in stories. People come together in laughter. And I do think, you're talking about hope, I do believe, sort of maybe naively, in the availability of hope.
Yeah, you believe in the availability of hope.
I do.
Well, I think you can find it in literature. This
Yes.
is a lovely book. Twist is available now. Colum McCann.